Welcome to Ep.7 of the Sweet-Natured Cruisecast. Hi, I'm Linz. As always, I'm joined by Marky.
Hello.
Hello. And today we're talking about whether it's worth forking out for speciality dining. And we're also joined by a very, very special guest. But first, a little mood music.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that music either.
No.
One of these days we'll get an intro music that's absolutely right.
Yes.
Well,
it's awesome.
It doesn't take much introducing, given that people can already see him that are watching the video version.
Yes.
But for those that are listening to us on the audio podcast, the voice that you just heard is the legendary cruise personality himself, Travel Blog Jamie. Hiya, Jamie.
Well, that's an introduction. I'm never going to live up to that one, but thank you. Thank you for having me here as well. It's amazing.
You're welcome.
And thank you. You are our very first ever special guest co-host.
Yes. It's a threesome whatever we call
It's
it.
a triple host.
Triple host. It's a triple
Which
host.
probably reads sounds better than a threesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I feel very privileged. As I said,
Thank you.
I thought you were going to pencil in at 2027 or something.
No.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for joining. So obviously, you've just come back off a cruise this morning, so we'll talk a little bit about that later on as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's usual format. Just because we've got Jamie with us, we've got our topic of the show, which, as you said, it's whether it's worth forking out speciality dining.
Yes.
And then we've got 3 news stories. Mm-hmm. You and Jamie have no idea about.
No.
So we'll get to that and we'll get people's takes on that as we go.
Yes.
So we love talking about speciality dining.
We just love talking about food, generally.
We do,
really.
or cocktails, but this is a food-based one.
Yes.
So, speciality dining.
Is that how
We're just starting somewhere on it. But, let's start off with then, because how much is too much to pay for speciality dining on a cruise ship?
Oh, that's a good one. Jamie.
You just passed the book on that immediately.
I did.
Do you know, I think it's so appropriate as well that we're talking about dining. I just knew that was going to be the topic of conversation. So, you might be aware, I am a massive fan of specialty dining for all sorts of reasons, mainly because I love variety when it comes to food.
Yes.
I'm such a fan of Asian cuisine as well. So I'm always looking out those kind of restaurants on board. But what I've noticed over the last couple of years in some cruise lines, the prices are really starting to increase quite rapidly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this sounds like a huge amount, but for me, my cut-off point really is about £40. And that for me is already at the end of the scale. And I think some cruise lines, their specialty dining actually is more than that. That would make me stop and think, well, actually, when you think about the amount a cruise costs anyway, and all the extras perhaps you're adding to that for me is starting to get a little bit too ka-ching heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you take Matthew with you as well, because then that's double, because that's £40 is then £80.
It is, and I mean, you just touched on it then, Jamie, that £40 is becoming rapidly an entry point to specialty dining. When, all of us started cruising, specialty dining was generally in the sort of £10s to £20 as a supplement on top. And the only one that I can think of that's anywhere near that price still is probably Fred Olsen. Because
their specialty dining, and again, one of the reasons I love Fred Olsen, apart from the intimacy of the ship and the amazing customer service, actually specialty dining all the way. They've got Vasco, which is Doran food, and they've got Colours and Taste, which is Asian fusion. And Boris, if you're correct, £10 per person if you book it in advance, which is amazing value. And I agree. I think it probably is the cheapest that I can think of in terms of that additional cost when you're on a cruise line.
Yeah,
it is, because they're doing it as it is genuinely a little supplement to the cruise fare. They're acknowledging you've already paid quite a lot of money. Fred's not the cheapest.
No, Fred is not.
And it's acknowledged. But then when you look at someone like Celebrity, which, again, similar pricing to where Fred Olsen sits in the market.
For a balcony, most definitely. If you're a couple, not if you're a solo, as we've talked about.
Then that's a different subject. That will definitely be a podcast one at some point. The cost of solo.
Tell me about it.
But their sort of pricing now seems to be starting above that £40 threshold that you're in there. And our recent trip on Sun Princess, they've pretty much flatlined their specialty dining starting at £45 as well.
Dollars.
So $45.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe it's still within that £40 piece at that point.
Bro, they have those packages now, don't they? Whereby if you, I don't know, it's like, $45, $50 a day. So you get your gratuities plus Wi-Fi. And I think if you go for the best, most expensive, luxurious package, I think you get some of your specialty dining included in that as well. But I think if I were paying £40, as you say, per person for that kind of venue, it would make me question whether I go to another during my week's cruise or whatever it may be. It might just be that I do one. When I'm girls, I'll do both because it's £20. Which is great.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we're also seeing, especially with the newer cruise ships that are coming on, Queen Anne's a good example because she's obviously just gone out there. She's got more specialty dining than any of the other Cunards. As the new ships come out, Icon, Sun Princess, more and more specialty dining on there, which means, if you're on a 7-night cruise, if you want to really see them all, you might have to go into specialty dining every night.
Which then
that's adding a lot of money onto your base cost of the cruise, which if you then sort of start comparing it to some of the ultra-inclusive or ultra-luxury cruises, all of a sudden you might not be that different when you've added Princess Premier package on or P&O's drinks package and all those sort of bits. You might not be a million miles away.
No.
If you, certainly, you look at Icon of the Seas and Sun Princess as well, they've sort of elevated that specialty dining up a little bit higher again by introducing them as a dinner show.
Oh, yes. And you get your drinks in there as well.
You do.
For some of them you do.
But, the Empire Supper Club, for a couple of days, $400 or something?
Oh, my
Maybe even more than that.
It's crazy.
Spellbound, which we would recommend.
Yeah.
You can definitely get your money's worth in cocktails.
Definitely.
Very easily.
Jamie, you could definitely do that.
But that's $149.
Yes.
Brits are $149.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, it becomes a much more thought about.
Yeah.
And that's a really good deposit for another cruise.
It is.
Or a 2-nighter. It could pay for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, we saw a Costa one, I think it was last week or something, and it was £99.
Wow.
For, I think that was 2-nighter.
Yeah.
Which when you put it in that perspective, it gets a little bit expensive.
That's it. And then when you've paid that, you're going to be nickel and dimed. You're more mentally prepared for it than when you've paid a more higher price to get in, and then you still end up having to buy you see, is there a night that you prefer to go to speciality? Do you like to go on the first night, the last night?
Nights.
Yeah.
Well, we tend to go on the first night because now I'm not suggesting every cruise line is the same, and of course the occupancy rates will differ, but we find the main dining rooms sometimes to be a little bit more chaotic on the first night, especially with, I think, increasingly so. There are so many new to cruising passengers who aren't sure of how things work on the first night. And I've just noticed the lines can be, people know me when I'm not very patient. I don't like lining up things much. So I find with specialty dining, sometimes you might get a better deal on the first night because it's not as busy.
No.
But I've had some where they've actually thrown in a bottle of wine as well. And it's like, I'll have that. Thank you very much. So for us, the first night is a nice, calm sort of way into the cruise. What I will say is we don't favour specialty dining on the final night because in my view, specialty dining gets busier and busier as the week progresses and people are looking for more variety. And we find that some of the restaurants are sort of chockers on the last night. That actually, it's better to go to cinema dining room where there are fewer people. So
Definitely.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, we're very, very similar because we've actually started queuing to go into the main dining room on the first night and then looked at the app to see which specialities got availability and then gone to that restaurant.
Yeah.
And then on the last night, I'm just sat there going, yeah, I need to pack now. We need to get the suitcases out. I can't really enjoy this lovely, leisurely dinner that you find in Speciality because we've got to get organised. I never enjoy it. We also, if we're going across the Bay of Biscay, we don't book for that night either. We've done it once and we will never do it again.
Not in advance.
Not in advance, no, unless it's like a mill pond.
Well, actually, and I was just going to say, I think we tend to book specialty dining through a week when it's a sea day as well. We can mind a bit of rock and roll even when we're eating, to be honest with you. I think it depends on like if there's a special occasion, people often message me saying, which specialty restaurant would you recommend? We've actually learned the main dining room. And some people, of course, would rather do specialty dining when, I don't know, there's a formal night. I don't know. For me, it's start of the week, maybe a sea day though. Yeah. We don't ever book it on a formal night, do we?
I mean, we have done.
We have done because it's only the night you can get in.
You just talked about that when we went on Queen Elizabeth across Bay of Biscay, and I ended up just having a tiny piece of ginger and a bite of apple.
Yeah,
while you devoured the steak, and then I went back to the room and stayed there.
Yeah.
So we have done it on formal night, but normally they put on something special in the main dining rooms. Right?
Yes.
So you want to try that?
Yeah, that is.
I think my problem is because we live near to Southampton, and sometimes we do a lot of P&O cruises, which are convenient for us and generally good value. So I've actually experienced their formal night, their celebration menus so many times. They really need to update. They need to update them. I'm like, all of these things, so I'm not going there tonight again.
Now, if you could pick the perfect speciality menu, and you can pick any speciality restaurant you've ever been to, what are we having?
That's a good question.
Actually, that is easy because I already said I love Asian cuisine.
Yes.
So on Fred Olsen, as I said, first on Colours and Tastes, on Queen Anne during the press night, I went to Veranda, their Indian restaurant, the specialty restaurant, which was so good. The starter I had there is probably one of the best starters I've ever had on the cruise line. Wow. It was so good, honestly. Yeah. And they weren't afraid to use spice. And I want fire when I'm having Indian cuisine. So that was great. I'd also say, just to be a little bit different, when I was on Disney Magic a few years ago, I was invited actually by the crew to experience Palo for their brunch.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know if you're aware of the brunch there. I mean, it's such a beautiful, elegant, traditional venue with just the most quintessential sort of Disney service. And wow, the variety of food there was great. And they just wanted to keep giving you more and more and more. And, I was like, oh my gosh, I've literally just had breakfast and I'm on brunch. And I think it was a great variety of food and it was really, really very well done. And if I may, the one last thing I wanted to mention, actually, I'm not a vegan, but I really rate the plant-based restaurant on, Green & Co. It's only features on Avia.
Yeah.
Honestly, Matthew and I we were a bit dubious about some of the dishes, but I know what we need to go another line to try this out. It was, in my opinion, stunning. And I know some of my vegan friends booked onto Arvid just because they felt they're going to have a lot of variety. And thank goodness they loved it as well. And they kept going back night after night after night. So those are the ones on the action.
Yeah.
What about you, then?
What about me?
Well, you came with the question.
Oh, well.
Yeah, exactly.
My favourite, because I'm not a bread person unless I'm at sea. So my favourite bread I'm getting from Veranda Restaurant on Cunard.
Which is essentially a Krispy Kreme.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So I'm getting that. I'm then having the black and blue soup, onion soup from Crown Grill.
Yeah, that's
Princess.
Good choice.
For main course, this is a hard one.
It's not for me.
Oh my goodness. I'm probably going to have I'm going to go a nice steak from. Well, have you got something different? But my pudding is the bread and butter pudding in
Sindhu.
In Sindhu. I love it. Absolutely.
Oh, is that
it.
the one that's kind of like infused with cardamom and different spices?
Yes. It's so good.
Now, they do cook it slightly differently on different ships. But on Iona and Avia,
it's so good.
It's the same.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
I'm going to change.
And how much am I charging for my meal, though? That's the thing.
Well, it'd have to be no more than £40, or Jamie can't try it. So we're going to limit it to £40.
Okay. I think that's 40.
So that's your fantasy meal.
But yeah.
The one that I would add into that mix, I don't think I'd just have a generic steak one. So
yeah.
It's a bit too obvious, but the risotto that we had in Eden.
Oh, yes.
Which risotto in Leslie?
So on Celebrity, any of the Edge class ones, they have the Eden restaurant, which is an expensive one. Yeah, 80. I think it's about $80 per person now. But you go into a restaurant that's what you would pay on land would probably be £250.
Yeah.
If you sort of give up that way. But they do a risotto on there that is without doubt the best risotto I've had at any restaurant, land or sea. And it's just amazing.
It's dreamy.
Let's expand on that a little bit. And Jamie touched on it a little bit then. So what's your, rather than it being a fantasy one, all-time favourite specialty dining experience?
Oh, that's really unfair. Okay. So the one we go to most often is probably Sindhu, actually.
Yes.
And the reason I like Sindhu, and I know not everyone agrees with me out there, is because the dishes are priced individually.
Yes.
So I actually think that's quite a clever move. You used to pay a certain amount to go to Sindhu, and you had your starter, main, and dessert. Now, for me, I don't tend to have desserts unless they're very low sugar.
Yes.
So I was always wasted on me. And they wouldn't necessarily give you an extra starter or anything like that. Oh. But now it's individual. I can have as many starters as I want. And I think they are priced really reasonably.
Yes.
So they do this amazing beef pepper fry that I'm just addicted to. It's on that lovely thin kind of roti that's been fried lightly, and it's this really peppery and it's just gorgeous, fragrant. And with some pickled vegetables on top that cuts through the whole thing. I mean, I'm talking about it now, and I'm like, God, I want that now. So I think that's probably the one we've gone to most. And in terms of the mains, you can have curries, but then there's also dishes that are a little bit different as well. So we've been to that one more than any. So I probably should mention Sindhu.
Sindhu's a great call. We love it.
Yeah,
anytime we get a chance to go, we go there.
Yeah.
So what about you then? What's your all-time favourite one?
Oh, this is so hard because I like it little bits from everywhere, but I also I like Eden was great, but again very pricey. But you know what? I'm going to go off-piste a bit here and say that the Wake, that's not a speciality restaurant, but feels a speciality restaurant.
That's cheating, though.
But you
I have to agree with Mark, Lindsay. That's totally cheating.
Oh.
I love the Wake as well, but it's not speciality dining.
No, but it does feel it, though.
All the food on Virgin is amazing, but you're not having that one. You've got no getting out of this.
Okay. If I could go to any this afternoon, tonight, I'm going to Veranda on Cunard. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. You know what? I'm actually going to the Veranda on Queen Mary 2 next month for the lunch, and it'll be my first time ever in the Veranda. So can you tell me something about it or what I should be ordering?
Oh.
Well, the thing to get most excited about, you've already touched on, which is the pre-food bread service, which again, we're not normally massive bread eaters, but the bread that they bring you, which is individually baked, it's about sort of year big, which doesn't translate well for people listening to the audio podcast. I'm aware of that. But it's about sort of 3-4 inch across. But it's essentially a Krispy Kreme donut in bread format. And I cannot get across to you just how amazing it is.
So good. It's so good.
They have a great burger in there for lunch.
They do.
They have the Cunard burger.
Yes.
Can you have that burger cooked how you like, or does
Yes.
it come?
No,
Right.
you can
However
have it
you want it.
However you want it.
That's fine. I'm not going with pink.
No, you can have it however you like.
Okay.
It's fantastic. The lunch in there is really good value. I think off the top of my head, it's about $25 something.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a big chunk of the evening meal is on there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But you pay
That's
about
why I liked it. But like I say, it's cheaper to go for lunch. So
Yeah. Do you like cheese?
do I like?
Cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have a lovely cheese trolley that they will wheel round to you. Instead of a sweet dessert, you can have a full range of
perfect.
Is it that
cheese.
lunchtime?
I'm sure I had cheese for
Okay.
lunch. I'm sure they'd sort you out.
Oh, I hope you're not building me up for
Oh,
that.
no.
Chanel.
Can you imagine? I'm going to be such a diva. What's the trolley? Do you not know
Cheese.
Lindsay? She told me there'd be a cheese trolley.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Okay, so you're picking Veranda.
Aye.
I'm going
I can't wait.
to...
Yeah.
It would be really
fab.
easy for me to say Eden as well, because
Yeah.
Eden's probably our highest rated.
That's true. That's true.
And it was amazing. Kai sushi on Some Princess were fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with something very different, except when I'm looking at value for money.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Keel and Cow
Yes.
on Iona or Avia, because we've never had anything other than a great meal.
No, we haven't.
You pay for it, much like Sindhu. So if you just want to start on a main course, you don't want a dessert, fantastic. And the cheese sharing one to start with.
Oh, the
that
gooey
giant
one.
Camembert type.
Yes.
Oh,
Somerset
so
cheese.
good. So yeah, Keel and Cow for me.
Okay.
All right, let's flick it the
I
opposite.
think that's
Oh,
a great.
no.
I think that's a great option as well. I love the king cow. And I
Yes.
agree with you. Every meal we've ever had there has
Yeah.
been top notch.
And it's always easy to get in, because for whatever reason, it is definitely the least popular
Yeah.
of the specialty dinings. Don't know why, because it's not expensive. It's really good. Maybe it's because it's in that sort of area where people can walk around. They don't feel as special, possibly. But yeah, I love it. I think
Yeah.
Lincoln's fantastic.
Yes.
Right, we're going to flick it to the other end and make everyone feel really awkward.
Oh.
And now it's the worst specialty dining experience.
Oh my
But
goodness.
you're not going to start on me, are you?
No, we'll start with Lindsay on this one.
Yeah.
Because she tried to worm out of the
These
last
are your questions worse. I need to have a good think about that.
Oh,
worst specialty dining. I reckon we'll pick the same one.
I think we'll probably pick the same one, and it's how the beach house was
On Veranda.
on Ventura. Yeah, I think it's got better now, but it was not great.
Now, I think we give that 3 out of 10.
It was not good.
It is the second lowest score that we've ever given. And just every part of that meal were terrible.
We've had better, like Frankie and Benny's. Like,
Yeah.
kind of, it was not good.
No, that was bad on that. But then we went on, and we talked about that when we did the review.
Yeah.
And people, you must try it again. That's a one-off one, but try it on Iona. So we went on Iona. We're really not looking forward to this, but for science, we'll do it.
Yes.
And it was an absolutely fantastic
Yeah,
meal.
fantastic.
It was so completely different. But yeah, beach house on that.
That's one of the issues, though, isn't it? It shouldn't be consistent across a fleet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's really not.
And that's what people have to sort of take into consideration when they're booking. It's like, I love it, this restaurant on so-and-so ship. And then they go on there and they're like, why are they throwing the food at me? And why,
why are the corns bouncing off the tip?
Yeah.
Overcooked?
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with one slightly different.
Okay.
To our lowest ever rated,
Okay.
which it was a specialty dining venue so bad they shut it down not long after we went on.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So we take no responsibility for this. It was definitely the lowest rated of any that I have, which was Bistro sur la Mer on Enchanted Princess when we went on it.
Yeah.
Which was the predecessor to Catch by Rudy.
Yes.
Now, the Catch by Rudy one is brilliant, but the Bistro sur la Mer was so bad. The vegetables that we got in there had come out of a Finder's frozen pack. Nothing wrong with Finder's frozen vegetables. Sure, they're fantastic. But if
You should have made a lot more money.
No.
and I think it was $35 a head when we went to that.
Yeah.
And then the main course which was served on
A napkin.
so not on a plate, was just really bad fish fingers.
They're like, yeah.
They weren't even like Findus level good. And that was a bad meal. But to be fair, a lot of people were very critical of that. And to be fair to Princess, they then changed it, and the Catch by Rudy is now accepted as one of the better seafood restaurants, I'd say.
Yeah, and you could even walk through and have people could use it as a thoroughfare, similar to Keel and Cow.
But they actually did use it.
But used it, and then sort of came over and had a look to see what you were eating, and sort of stood over. It's like, yeah.
I mean, we were sat in a little bit, but we saw people who were sat right in the end, and people were genuinely stopping and going, "Oh, what are you having?"
Yeah.
that is not a speciality dining experience.
No.
It's like being at a zoo.
No. So, in conclusion,
a restaurant that's shut down and one that's got a better version on Iona.
Yes.
What about you then, Jamie? Worst experience?
So, this is a bit awkward because I don't actually remember the name of the specialty restaurant. You might be able to help me with this one. It was actually on, I'm so sorry, Marilla, Voyager, the latest in the fleet. It was, it sort of built a top-notch new specialty restaurant. It's something like the Fork and something, or the something. Or, do you know the one I mean?
No, we've
not been on Morella
We
yet.
keep looking at Morella. We think
I'm really
yeah.
Maybe you could quickly look at the name, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it was billed as the brand new specialty restaurant is unique to Voyager.
Yeah.
The dishes are unique. They're almost sort of secretive in some of the elements and the ingredients. And I'll give it a try. It sounds really interesting.
It's fabulous, yeah.
And I went with the vegetarian Wellington. And when I cut it open, they'd used plant-based products, but they'd kept it pink, and they tried to char the outside to make it look a bit like an actual Wellington.
Yeah.
It was the mushiest thing I've ever eaten, and they served it with what sounded like a really appetizing gravy. And I thought, yes, okay, it's going to be a really nice, rich vegetable gravy. Thank you. That's what it needs. It was like vinegar. So I poured this gravy over thinking, oh, can I just cover some of this pink mushiness? Because it looks very unappetizing. And when I poured the gravy, it was so thin. And I dipped in this mush to what was vinegar. It was absolutely horrendously vile. And I could not eat that at all. And Matthew's starter, it was like a terrine. It was just great. The whole thing was great. So it just looked unappetizing, and the taste just wasn't there for me. And also, it's the most expensive specialty restaurant they have introduced. So one of the managers came around and they were asking, how's your meal? And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry. This just isn't for us. So I can see why some people might like this, but it's not appealing to us at all.
No.
And they were horrified, and they just left us, and they never came back to snack on us again. Which is probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
The
silver fork.
Yes, thank you. The silver fork. It just wasn't for us. Matthew really didn't enjoy it either.
No.
So also, you were paying top notch for that fee, and no, sorry.
Yeah.
So one final question then on sort of the topic.
Yes.
Is there a specialty dining type venue that you would like to see on either cruise lines generally or a particular cruise line that's not there at the moment?
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Well, I've just been talking, so I think it's over to you two first.
I've got one that I'm not going to class myself as cheating on this because they could charge for it, but I think Virgin needs to have an Indian/Asian restaurant. It's got the Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
But we've had, when they've done some, like the dinner show, they did a lot of Asian dishes within there, which were amazing and just made me want to do that more. Yeah. So I'd like to see sort of a really great Asian Indian restaurant.
A fusion kind of
And
place.
even if they do it as part of a dinner show, that way I can get away with saying it's a speciality one.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. That is a very good. I would like. It's hard because I would like something on Cunard, and they might now do it in the Golden Lion pub, but where like a really dirty burger and like naughty fries and that kind of really and chicken wings with really yummy blue cheese sauce and something.
Well, it's elevated where you
but it's really, really elevated. So ribs and that kind of thing. That's sort of it's still elevated but it's really
dirty.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You want a dirty burger. It's fine. You can say that.
Too. Yeah.
What about for you, Jamie?
Okay, I'm going to go with Vietnamese.
Oh, nice.
Or Chinese.
Yes.
But I like a really good one.
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
I don't know if you're aware of, there's a restaurant in London called Hakkasan. That's like specialty Chinese food. They got a Michelin star.
Oh,
if you've never heard of it, look up the menu. That's what I want on a ship.
On a ship.
Yeah. And I'm all about ramen as well. Bowls of ramen.
Yes.
And on Virgin, they actually do ramen. And it's the first time I've had one on a ship. And I thought, oh, heaven. I just want a restaurant that does bowl after bowl after bowl of ramen. That's all I need.
And then you're good. And we're charging about, should we say £3 or £5?
For
the ramen.
£3 per ramen or?
Well, on Virgin, it's free.
Well, yeah, thank you.
And you can have it for breakfast. I've had it for breakfast.
You have had it on for breakfast, yeah.
It's fantastic on that. No, it'd be nice to see a really good Vietnamese restaurant.
Yeah, or Chinese, yeah.
There is surprisingly, that's how popular Chinese food is. There's surprisingly few Chinese specialty dinings on cruise ships.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to think of many at all.
We'll have to find one.
We will.
Is it true that Queen Mary 2 has a Chinese restaurant now? I've booked into Bamboo.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what the menu is. I just saw Speciality Bamboo and I literally booked it because I thought that sounds like the kind of place I want to go to.
Yes.
So I have no idea what's on the menu.
No, it's...
So they have what they refer to as pop-up speciality dinings on Queen Mary 2. And they differ depending where she's sailing. So when you go up into the fjords on Queen Mary 2, they have one in there called Nordlis, which is sort of Norwegian, sort of fjordy one. And we went to that one. And that were amazing.
I didn't win
so
this.
it's at the back of the King's Court buffet, and you might think, oh, it's in the buffet, it's like beach house type thing, but they completely partition it off at night. It doesn't feel like it's in there. You just feel like you're in any other specialty dining, and they are really good value as well.
Yeah,
they're relatively sort of cost effective. They're about $25, I think.
Bamboo was exactly around that figure, and I thought that sounds like it's going to be great value. And I booked into something called La Piazza, which I'd never heard of as well. So maybe that's a pop-up.
That'll be the Italian. It'll be in the same spot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a lovely area, and
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
They're really good in there.
I can't wait to try that. I've got a veranda as well, so I'm going now. Yes.
I'll be really interested to see what you think of Bamboo, because it's never been on when we've been on.
No.
Okay. Yes, at last. I can teach you something.
Definitely going to do.
I'll message you and tell you how it is.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah.
So, in summary, then, do we think it is worth forking out for the specialty dining as a treat? I do know a lot of people just will go on and go in the main dining rooms and go to the buffet or the eatery type thing. For me personally, it is definitely worth doing it, especially if you want a shorter cruise. Maybe not as much you're going to get there, but harking back to what Jamie said earlier on, that by the time you get to the end of a longer cruise, sort of 5, 7 nights, 14 nights. You kind of want to go somewhere different in there, and it's just nice to sample
a little spoil yourself,
and definitely for a date night.
Yes.
It's hard to have a date night in a main dining room with 800 other people. Intimacy.
Yeah,
and we know that you love the specialty dining, so
I mean, I just concur with what you've said. Obviously, anyone who knows me knows I always do specialty dining, but I do understand, if you're on more of a budget, there's still plenty of options for you,
definitely, yes.
including a new crease there, which obviously works as well.
Yeah, definitely.
On to the news stories.
Oh, here we go, Jamie.
Right, I think Jamie may have something to say on this first one, having seen a very recent video they did.
Oh.
So, P&O drinks packages and their alcohol.
No! Oh, Mark, how could you?
Well, this was genuinely not a sell because I'd thought about this as soon as it came up, and then I saw your video. I'm like, we're absolutely covering this. Because I already personally don't think that their drinks packages are great value. We love a drinks package. Wherever possible, we try and get a drinks package.
Yes.
So the fact that they've increased sort of the pricing on that bike, depending when you buy it and which package you buy, up to £5.50 per person per day. It's a lot if you're on there for a week. That's another £77 for a couple.
Yeah.
It's not insignificant.
No.
It's taking that price up to £850 for a week.
Yikes.
Which is not cheap.
Yeah.
But they have changed the alcohol allowances as well. And I think this has been the most controversial bit because they were very open. Over to you.
Okay, so there was a leaked document. Somehow, some travel agents got hold of a document that hadn't been finalised from P&O, bringing about changes, staggered changes to bring on board alcohol. Now, you'll be aware that it's quite unusual, actually, that P&O over the years have allowed you to bring on, firstly, you could bring on quite a lot of alcohol, anything you wanted, to them limiting it to a litre bottle of any alcoholic drink. If you can get your litre bottles of wine, good for you. And you could bring one per adult sharing the cabin. So for us, for example, I love a cheeky little vodka when I'm getting ready at night. I don't have to have too much of it. Just one or two on the balcony, bit of cruise radio on the background. I'm very happy. So they've stopped that now as from the 7th of May. And you'll have to bring a litre bottle of wine or barley, and that's it. So because of this leaked document, and because I seem to be synonymous with P&O, I have had hundreds, I'm not joking, hundreds of messages, DMs on every platform you can imagine. Is this true? This is disgusting, etc., etc. So I've always said to everyone, no, just wait. This is a leaked document, and it's not the official one. So let's see what the official word is. So the minute I saw that they changed the policy, a bit naughty, because they didn't actually email people or make them aware of this change. I think they were relying on people like me to do the work for them. Again, my DM was going crazy. So I thought, right, I didn't plan on it, but I just made a short 8-minute vlog and I explained what the changes were when they were coming into effect. A few of my own opinions. And thank you very much, people. Can you stop messaging me about that? That hasn't quite worked out. Because now people generally, you've got the anger from one side. And I do take people's point that, is they offer less now than they used to. But as I said to them, the prices haven't necessarily elevated. In fact, I paid nearly £1,000 less for a 2-week cruise around the Med a couple of years ago than I did 10 years ago with P&O. So I can't really fault them for, their price level. I think you can still get good value cruises with them. But I think a lot of people don't remember it's a business. And actually, I can't name, maybe you can help me, I can't name any cruise lines that allow you to bring on spirits, wines, champagne, etc. So it has upset some of the traditional guards and those people who like a drink and trying to save money by having drinks in their cabin. So that is our story. That's boring news, isn't it? Can you sense the enthusiasm from you guys? I'm trying to deliver this news with enthusiasm. But can I just say to your audience, don't even think about messaging me about it. You're not to hear with it. Just watch the vlog. It's all in the vlog.
Yeah,
okay?
it's all in the vlog. It's all in the vlog.
And they can message P&O.
Yeah,
I'm sure they would love to hear.
Yes.
If enough people talk about it, the power of the customer and the consumer is immense if they get onto it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I can't think of another cruise line that lets you take on spirits.
Wow.
We've been on P&O, and where we've got to we did the 14 night on Iona.
Yes.
And when we got to Barcelona, people were bringing back on sort of 2 or 3 extra litres of spirits for the journey back. And you're like, okay. And they were fine with it. They weren't checking or doing anything.
No.
So, I'm not surprised. I think there are a couple of others that let you take on a bottle of wine. But I just can't think of any that ever let you do that.
No.
The bit that sort of got my go on the announcement with it was around the reasoning for it and putting it down to health and safety.
Oh,
It's like, I'm sure you could have got a little bit better of a spin for the reasoning behind it. Even just like bringing it in line with the rest of the cruise industry. Anything would have been fine.
Yeah.
That's the Hess policy. Yeah. And I did my homework. I actually read. It was very boring. I actually read the Hess policy, and it's an internal charter created by Carnival to, in my personal opinion, suit any agenda that comes along. Oh. But if you're actually worried about responsible drinking, you wouldn't have drinks packages.
No, absolutely.
No.
So that's just a poor excuse. It's about money, isn't it? It's about money. Being in line to get cruise lines. Where Pinot know they are losing money where others are making money.
Yes.
So I understand that they want to be in line with the others, but it's it's kind of like disguising it as it's all about you and your health, everybody. But please do buy a drinks package.
Yeah.
News story number 2.
Okay.
So we have a slight vested interest in this.
Okay.
We've been watching it for a long time. And that's the Virgin's Brilliant Lady.
Yes.
Their 4th ship has finally gone on sale this past week.
Yes.
And they've announced it's going to debut in September next year, 25, from New York City for the first time.
Wow.
It's going to essentially now have 4 home ports at that side during its first season and a bit, which is there, Miami. Mm-hmm. Then it's doing a Miami transit through the Panama, because it's been designed to get through the Panama. Then it's going to be home-based in LA. And then much later, they haven't put this one on sale yet, but Seattle to do Alaska.
Wow.
And I'm so excited for that. We've been waiting to go on Brilliant Lady for a long time.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see if they change anything on there. Maybe they put a really nice Indian restaurant on there. But
I'd like a bigger cool, please.
Yes.
Yeah, can't imagine that's happening that much. But just to get more people in on Scarlet Night, it all gets very busy when we all jump in.
Yeah.
And most people don't know it's not actually very deep, so they jump in and they realise it's only up to their ankles.
Yeah. Which is useful because at that point you have generally had quite a lot of alcohol.
Yes.
So it not being too deep, I'm quite pleased about. But yeah, really interesting. Any of those sort of itineraries sort of take your fancy that you fancy doing Virgin specifically?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, next month I'll be doing the transatlantic to New York. Love New York.
Oh.
But in the summer we sailed with Veranda from Port Canaveral to the Bahamas, then up to New York.
Oh yes, we saw it. Yes.
Yeah, we had 2 days there, which was just brilliant. And we then went down to Charleston, which was very interesting, very lovely, lovely city to explore. But we've done a cruise of the west coast of the US before with Princess out of LA. And I think it was one of the few times I've actually cried coming into port. When we were coming into San Francisco, my goodness me, I just was overwhelmed. But I just think cruising out of somewhere that's it's so far away, isn't it, from where we live? It just seems so different and special. So I'm with you on all of those itineraries. They're great. Yeah. Panama Canal, I've never done that.
Oh.
I think
you done that?
Panama, no, but we were looking at it. We're looking at it.
Yeah, very close.
Yes.
But yeah, I think Virgin normally stay in ports longer than pretty much any other cruise line I can think of, and they often have very late departures. Coming out of New York at night, which we have done once before on a ship, and sailing past the Statue of Liberty and all that, will just be something special on Virgin. I'm not entirely sure what it'll be like at Alaska because it's not like it has a covered solarium type area. Alaska's not known for its tropical heat.
No.
So it'll be interesting to see sort of how it is up there, and what, if anything, they modified the ship for, knowing that they were taking it up there.
Yes.
Because by the time it comes out, it'll be 2 years delayed from when it was due to come out originally.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see sort of where that goes from there.
Yes.
Final news story.
Okay.
Queen Anne has now completed her maiden. And she came back in on Friday, yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
But there's been a few complaints about service. Not being surprise, surprise, a maiden not being perfect.
I'm so surprised.
I think people are more surprised because there is this expectation with Cunard that you link the two with service.
Yeah.
That white glove service, everyone being really trained. And the feedback that came off it, we know quite a few people that won the first one.
Yeah.
I know Guy Bembridge has joined the second one today, and he's put out that even within the grills experience, which, let's face it, that's not a cheap experience. They've got waiting staff in there that this is their very first cruise. The butler, it was their first cruise of any ship, not just Cunard. So, is it a case of that, they've struggled to get the staff on, not had enough time to train? But what does look good, compared to some other cruise ships that have come out of recent, is that it appears to be, apart from staff being trained, it appears to be pretty much everything working.
Yes.
Because she was delayed.
Yes.
Originally January?
It's supposed to be January, I think, yes.
But I was more surprised that there's been that many people openly talking about that the service just wasn't there. Yeah. I expected them to say, there were problems with certain things, maybe the shows weren't working correctly or something, but the service wasn't on my scorecard.
No. What did you think of her, Jamie, when you went to see her?
I just fell in love with that ship.
Oh.
Absolutely. And I know it was a press event, so I'm not totally daft. I understand that they want to be presenting themselves at the absolute best. I think it didn't help them that they didn't have the shakedown cruise prior to the press event, which was what was planned originally. So the ship would have been filled, they would have sailed, although not very far, and they would have had that experience of, larger numbers of passengers. And I think with the crew, the difficulty is, isn't it, that you've got to, they were thrown in at the deep end, really. This is the reality of cruise life when it is full, and it's going to put pressure on all of you, sometimes multiple times a day, and how you react is really important. And I don't think they necessarily had the experience of that with the shakedown cruise. So I'm not making excuses for them.
No.
But I love the ship. And I think you were right, actually. In time, one of the things I commented on the vlog when I was touring was that whilst it wasn't all ready at that point for the maiden, everything was, as far as I could see, working.
Yeah.
And it was just some sort of cosmetics that they were still working on. They were tacking things, and it just looked beautiful, and the staff were rightly so very proud of what they'd achieved in a short period of time. I don't know what how the training will operate, sort of the professional development, but I can imagine that on the maiden, it would have been incredibly stressful, being so busy, and having lots of prolific travel bloggers, journalists, vloggers on board. It all adds to the stress, doesn't it?
Of course.
But I feel a beautiful ship, and I can't wait to stay on her later year.
Because you're on her twice this year, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got balloons. It's not birthday. Is it your birthday?
No.
Okay. Maybe we're celebrating on Friday.
I just celebrated your 2 cruises.
Yes, August is a short 4-nighter to Rotterdam, which is a favourite of mine. Yes. And then in November, I'm actually doing a solo on board Queen Anne. I thought it was great value. I think as a solo passenger, if I can get a cruise for £100 per night or less, I do it really, really well. Yes. And that's exactly what it costs for the 2 weeks. It's a med cruise. So I'm really excited about that one. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
We're on it for Christmas and New Year.
Yes.
So it's the first time that we've done a cruise that goes over that period. We've done it where we've come off just before
Christmas.
Literally like a couple of days before.
Yeah.
But it'll be really interesting to see. So what they do with her at that point.
Yeah. Because
Can I ask you both a question in a moment?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to know if you've been on a maiden cruise voyage and whether when you went on that, you expected or anticipated some teething problems.
So we normally book the second cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily the maiden, do we? With the expectation that there's something going to happen.
We let the maiden people get the little gifts and the bags and everything else.
Yeah.
So they can work as sort of our canaries in the cage and figure out what's wrong.
Yeah.
And, by the time you get on, it's a little bit better. But no, I don't think we've been on the maiden. We nearly ended up on the maiden for some princess because we were on the second cruise. And then they cancelled the first one. Then they cancelled the second one with 3 days' notice for us. Which, not ideal.
No.
I do remember you posting about that, and I felt for you.
Oh, it was Valentine's Day. They did it to us. Valentine's Day for what is the...
Yeah,
there's no love there.
No love there.
And it's the love ship. And they sent a Valentine's Day message. We went, nope. we found out about that first thing in the morning, and it was really early, like 6 o'clock in the morning. Lindsay had just come back up. We'd had breakfast. We were getting ready for work. She'd gone back upstairs, and more expletives than I'm willing to put out on this podcast came out of my mouth while I shouted upstairs to Lindsay, and she's like, "No, you winded me up." I'm like, "No,
they're not going to do it on Valentine's
Day." But no, we've not done the maiden yet. I say, but more intentionally.
But we keep looking at them because you can get a really good price. That's the thing.
If you book it, well,
well,
we looked at NCL Aqua because it's made
on
transatlantic. And that's a very tempting one. Apart from it is just a straight TA. There's no stops, and it's like. At least if things are not working out great and there's a load of port days, you can get off and have a wander. A 7-day straight across the Atlantic for its first voyage. It seems a strange choice. There's not a great history of maiden voyages picking a transatlantic. But no, I mean, we might do it at some point.
Yes.
But no, not yet.
What about you?
I've never done one. And I think some people fall into a maiden inadvertently because, like you said, the first, the second, the third gets cancelled. And then before you know it, you're actually on the maiden.
Yeah.
I think I just purposely avoided them because I am concerned of the ships not being ready and being cancelled. But also, I just want the crew to settle in and just on their feet and to give you the best experience ever. So if I went on a maiden, I think I would go thinking it's not all going to be working as perhaps it would do in 2 months' time or something.
Yes.
So I don't know, but the NCL Aqua, I did look at that as well.
Yeah.
And I was quite tempted, and I don't know what it is about that ship. I haven't settled NCL for either. It was a good price as well, so tempting. But all the things I've just said put me off booking it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that brings us up towards the end of what would be the podcast normally. But it'd be great if Jamie can tell us about anything that he's got coming up. And anything he wants to tell anybody about. Not that I think they'll struggle to.
No. Everybody knows Jamie.
Everybody knows Jamie.
Does that?
Yeah, I would say so. That listen to this definitely.
Yeah, 100%. But what's the exciting things that's coming up for you over the next couple of weeks, or things that you want people to know about? This will go out on in a couple of days' time on Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I suppose the most exciting thing for me is that my last day of teaching will be in July, so that I can focus solely on what I'm currently doing, but without not having any sleep. So that's very exciting for me. And essentially, I'm traveling or cruising every 3 to 4 weeks for the remainder of this year. My next actual cruise will be on Queen Mary 2, doing the transatlantic. So that I'm really excited about. And I'll be staying in New York for a couple of days as well. So that's the most immediate thing that's coming up. And then I've got an Arctic Circle cruise later in the year, which I'm really excited about. And I've just told you about the Queen. There's loads. So
There's loads.
come you over to my sort of blend, my mix of craziness and sometimes foul language, which I apologize for profusely. I haven't sworn once today.
No, we've been really good.
Yeah.
I know, right? Like the halo is here. I promise you.
Yes.
What's
There
your
were
next
loads of
cruise?
swearing just before we started.
There was.
Yeah, we got it all out of the way.
Yes.
Not from me, by the
swearing.
way.
No.
That was just Lindsay's fault.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God.
Well, that brings us to the end of the episode.
Well,
So it remains us to say thank you so much for joining us, Jamie.
thank you, Jamie.
Cheers.
Oh, have a
Cheers.
drink.
I have a drink.
We'll give you a virtual cheers.
Cheers.
Can I hold up a postcard that was writing for one of my patrons?
Yes,
Cheers.
you can. Cheers.
you, we love
La
it.
Cunard, and thanks for listening and have a lovely day.